Good morning and welcome to Norcal APEX Accelerator's webinar, Doing Business with BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transportation. My name is Amanda Anderson. I'm the Program Coordinator for Norcal APEX Accelerator. And today I'm joined by Alexi Chacon, the Senior Administrative Analyst for BART Office of Civil Rights. But before I pass it off to him for the real juicy details of this presentation, I just want to let you guys know a little bit about Norcal APEX Accelerator and how we can help you with government contracting. So the APEX Accelerator program is a federally mandated program that requires local centers to be available for you, for small businesses, to help with anything related to government contracting. Currently, we have over 96 APEX Accelerator centers nationwide, and all resources, all assistance from these APEX Accelerator centers are available at absolutely no cost. But what do these services really look like? Well, at Norcal APEX Accelerator, we offer our services to the 15 Northern California counties you see on the map there. And we offer our services through three main pillars. First, our one-on-one counseling, where once you are accepted as a client, you'll be able to meet with a procurement specialist who has years of experience in government contracting, both on the government agency side and on the entrepreneur business owner side. And what you can do once you have this connection is you can set up meetings with them one-on-one over Zoom, or if you are local to Humboldt, or if you would like to travel, we are available for in-person hours at our Humboldt location on Cal Poly Humboldt campus. And essentially, these counselors are a rock in your corner. Like, they're here to answer any questions you have and help you with any hiccups or hurdles you may experience, from a tricky Cal eProcure registration, or maybe you want some state certifications, but you're not quite sure how to apply. That's where our procurement counselors can sit down with you one-on-one and really guide you through those steps and really help you move forward on government contracting. Another fantastic pillar we have is our custom bid matching program. Now, this is a software that our program actually pays for, and we're able to offer to our clients at absolutely no cost. So remember, all of our services are no cost, and this is absolutely one you would want to take advantage of. This service actually allows you to sit down with your counselor and define a set of criteria for what you're looking for in a contract, in a solicitation. Maybe you can only perform work in a certain geographic location. Or maybe your industry or what your product is so niche that your product itself is what you're looking for in these solicitations. So your counselor will help you define these criteria, and we enter it into our system. And what our system does is it's able to scrub local, state, and federal procurement sites where they post all of these opportunities. And it'll pull relevant opportunities for you based on that criteria, and it'll email them directly to you. So it's a fantastic service that really takes a lot of the tediousness out of finding these opportunities and can really help you find your stride in government contracting. And finally, one of our pillars of service is one you're actually taking advantage of right now, our webinars and trainings, as well as our resources on our website. We maintain a robust website with a ton of government procurement resources, from links to procurement sites to find those solicitations, to information about certifications and other procurement things that maybe are a little higher level than you are right now. It's a very good place to learn about what is out there and what kind of opportunities you can see in government contracting. And once you're taking those steps forward, it can be a really good foundation to have. So if you haven't checked out our website, please do so. It is absolutely free to everyone and anyone, so it is a great resource to have. And if you are in our service area, please do sign up for services. The application is very brief and it's basically just to get information about your business so our counselor can meet you on equal footing. But once you're signed up, you have that counselor contact for whenever you need them. So you could meet with them maybe twice a month or twice a year. It really is up to you and your business's needs. So please do sign up. It is absolutely free, so there's nothing to lose. And now, just before we get into the presentation, I want to mention a bit of disclosure. Because this webinar is recorded, the information provided herein is accurate to the best of the presenter's ability at the time of this presentation. It is July 16th, 2024. Some or all of the provisions mentioned herein could or may be changed by the current administration with or without prior notice. So with that out of the way, I'll go ahead and pass it off to Alexi.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Hi, everybody. My name is Alexi Chacon. I'm a senior administrative analyst here at BART's Office of Civil Rights, and I'm so excited to talk to you about the different equity programs and different policies that we have put in place to ensure that we make our procurement process as accessible as possible. Okay, next slide, please. So here's my contact information. These slides should be distributed afterwards. You don't have to jot anything down. But if you have any questions at all about the programs and policies that I talked to you about today, or anything related to small business participation in our government awarded contracts, then please reach out at this email or at this phone number, and I'll do my best to either answer your question or connect you with the folks here at BART who can best help you. Next slide, please. So let me give just a quick overview of what I'll talk to you about today. Just in my introduction, I'm going to talk about our equity programs, which also go by the name Economic Opportunity Programs. I'll then talk about upcoming contracting opportunities and show you where you can regularly check on our BART website to look at upcoming opportunities. Then I will go over the application process for our Business Advisory Council. I'll talk a little more about what that council does, but in short, if you listen to today's presentation and you feel like you have the background and experience to help strengthen our strategies that we implement to increase small business participation, then we would love for you to have a voice and a seat at the table in helping form those policies. Then we'll have a Q&A. Okay, next slide, please. So as the Office of Civil Rights, our main role is to alert you to contracting opportunities, promote transparency in our procurement process, and advocate for a level playing field. Essentially, if we increase the number of small businesses that participate in our awarded contracts, then we're doing our job right. Next slide, please. This is just an overview of our awarded contracts in 2022. The reason I show this slide is because I want to definitely highlight the breadth of opportunity that is available to small businesses. There is not just one thing or one primary type of contract that we award or one primary scope of work that we award. If you consistently check on our vendor portal and on our BART website, you will see a wide range of contracts that are in the pipeline that might be suitable to your small business. So the three buckets of contracts that we primarily award are professional services, procurement contracts, and construction. And under those three buckets are different scopes of work as well, which include legal services when it comes to professional services. And then from procurement, we need everything from specially designed trucks that can go on our trackways to uniforms for our BART employees. And construction is essentially on the modernization of our different stations across the district, making sure that they're basically state-of-the-art and delivering our services as effectively as possible. Next slide, please. So now I'll jump into our economic opportunity programs. So on the federal side, we have our Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, which provides both race and gender conscious and neutral strategies to help DBEs gain opportunities at BART on US Department of Transportation funded contracts. The way that we implement those contracts is through establishing contract-specific DBE goals, if it's applicable, facilitating outreach events such as these, and enhancing opportunities for SBEs and MSBEs as well. Next slide, please. So I just want to go over what a contract goal is, since it is the main mechanism through which we implement our equity programs. So a contract goal ensures that a percentage of an individual contract is subcontracted to small businesses and minority-owned businesses. So businesses are only eligible to count towards a contract goal if they have the appropriate certification. So I'll talk through what certifications fall under each equity program, but if you are able to apply for these certifications, then prime contractors will keep an eye out for you and include you in their bid so that they meet the contract goal that we have set for a contract. So it's in your best interest to apply for those. Okay, next slide. So one critical certification for our DBE program is the DBE certification. So below are the criteria needed to fulfill the eligibility of the certification and for you to be awarded it. So the firm must be at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more economically disadvantaged individuals. And the firm's management and daily business operations must be controlled by one or more of the socially and economically disadvantaged individuals who own it. So we're really looking for both ownership and active engagement in the operations of that small business. We also have some net worth thresholds that are listed on the slide. And one important piece of information is that the DBE must be certified at time of bid or proposal submission date to count towards the DBE goal. Ignore that typo. So I just want to emphasize that in order for you to count towards the goal, you do have to already have had the certification approved before the bid or proposal is submitted for it to count towards the goal. So just make sure you keep an eye out for that. Next slide, please. Similarly, for our SBE certification, we have different small business size standards that are applied to this certification. Another note is that if you are DBE certified by the California Unified Certification Program, then you are automatically also an SBE. So you'll be able to benefit from having those two certifications when you are included in a bid or proposal submission at BART. SBEs who are not certified DBEs must be certified by BART. So that means, sorry, censored lighting. That means that if you do not qualify for the DBE certification, but you do qualify for the SBE certification, that SBE certification only counts towards BART contracts if you are certified by BART. So you should make sure to check out our eligibility criteria and to submit your application. So if you are certified as SBE by another agency, you still have to submit a certification application to BART. And all MSBEs that are certified by BART are considered SBEs as well. Similarly, SBEs must be certified at the time of bid or proposal submission date to count towards the SBE goal. Okay, next slide, please. And lastly, we have our MSBE certification. So those are essentially certifications that help you submit a bid or proposal for a contract in a protected environment. The reason we have this certification is because we want to make sure that you're able to bid on our set-asides on specific contracts. So the MSBE set-aside contract values shouldn't exceed 3 million for construction contracts or procurement contracts, or 6 million for professional services contracts. So that's really valuable if you fall under the criteria listed in the first half of this slide, because that means that you're only going to be bidding against small businesses of a similar or comparable size to you. And that makes sure that you have an equitable playing field when it comes to trying to win these contracts. Next slide, please. On our non-federal side, we do have our small business program and our non-discrimination program for subcontracting. So our small business program provides a preference to small business prime bidders of up to 5%. And when the subcontracting goal applies, provides a preference of 5% for prime bidders who meet the SB subcontractor participation goal. On Measure RR funded contracts, the SB preference applies only to local small businesses located in Alameda, Contra Costa, and San Francisco. Perfect. Next slide, please. Just to give a little context, so I mentioned that if there are Measure RR funded contracts, then if you are in those 3 counties, then your participation counts towards the goal and not small businesses in other counties. So for example, or not for example, but to explain what the Measure RR bond is, it's a $3.5 billion bond that was passed in 2016 to improve BART's aging transit infrastructure. With 2 overall goals in mind: to repair and replace critical safety infrastructure, and to relieve passenger crowding, reduce traffic congestion, and expand opportunities to safely access stations. The reason that I have this table on this slide is to, again, emphasize the breadth of work that's available to local small businesses that are in San Francisco, Contra Costa, or Alameda counties, because those 2 buckets of work are very broad, and $3.5 billion worth of work will go towards those 2 broad buckets. And they can include renewing track, renewing power infrastructure, designing and engineering future projects to relieve crowding. So it's just so important to make sure you get the local small business certification, which I will talk to in the next slide, in order to count towards the LSB goal that is tied to Measure RR funded contracts. Next slide, please. So in order to be verified as an LSB, the firm must complete a local verification request form, which is available online, which includes a DGS certification number with an address in the DGS database located in Alameda, Contra Costa, or San Francisco counties. Or you can be listed on one of the following: the Alameda County Small and Local Business or Emerging and Local Business Directory, the City of Oakland's Local Business Enterprise Directory, or the City and County of San Francisco Local Business Enterprise Directory. So essentially, you're either going to the DGS database to show that you are a local small business in one of the 3 counties, or you're already listed as a local small business by one of those 3 respective counties. Or you can provide the following documentation. You can provide a copy of a business license, a copy of a real estate property tax assessment or lease in the name of the firm or owner, and a copy of the firm's most recent federal tax return with financial information blocked out if preferred. Next slide, please. Finally, here's a list of other certification programs that fall under our non-federal economic opportunity program. We have our SB certification, our LSB certification, our LGBTBE certification, and our Disabled Veterans Business Enterprise certification. I have this slide listed here with the different organizations that might be responsible for granting these certifications. And again, I want to emphasize, it's really in your best interest to submit applications for certifications that you're eligible for, because the more that you have, the wider the net you cast in terms of being eligible for contract goals that are tied to different contracts. Prime bidders are always looking for small businesses that can help achieve and fulfill these goals. Because when a prime contractor submits a bid at BART, the contractor that submits a bid that meets the contract goal is more likely to win that bid. So you are critical and necessary in aiding a prime contractor to winning that work and to making sure that that work trickles down to you as well. Okay, next slide, please. Now I'm going to talk about our upcoming contracting opportunities. First, it's critical that you register for the BART procurement portal. So on BART's procurement portal, you're able to create a bidder profile, to review and download active solicitations, and to receive email notifications on upcoming solicitations that align with your business's scopes of work. And so you're also, if you were to be successfully awarded a bid, you would also be able to access relevant info throughout that process on the portal as well. So it's really important if you want to see the actively advertised contracts and to be notified of contracts relevant to your business that you make an account on our procurement portal. Next slide, please. Here is a screenshot of the landing page of our procurement portal. On the left-hand side, you'll see where you can register and make an account, and you'll also see where you can view active solicitations. I've hyperlinked the portal on the slide deck, and I can see that Amanda also sent you the link as well. So please navigate to that page, bookmark it. It'll be a really helpful guide as you navigate our procurement process. Next slide, please. Now, if you want to find upcoming contracts, you'll go to our BART.gov website, and I've listed some steps here in the appendix of this slide deck, which I won't visualize here today, but that you'll have access to afterwards. I do have screenshots of each web page that you have to navigate to get to this final page, which is called A Look Ahead Upcoming Contracts. Next slide, please. Here's a screenshot of it as well, and I've also included a hyperlink. And this is where you're going to find the upcoming contracts that are in the pipeline with projected advertisement dates, with titles that usually broadly describe the scopes of work that are expected to be included in that contract. And also, we'll have contact information. That contact information is critical. If you have any follow-up questions, trying to just dive a little deeper into what scopes of work will be included to get maybe a tighter timeline on the projected advertisement date, or any other questions you may have. So please make use of those contacts. They're all very helpful, and they're all here to make sure they can answer your questions. Next slide, please. So I've gone ahead and just copied and pasted what is currently advertised on the upcoming construction contracts page, and I've done that for professional service agreements as well. So you can see here, they speak to the breadth of work that I mentioned earlier, right? We're looking at water intrusion mitigation, station elevator modernization, and direct fixation fastener assembly procurement. So as you can see here, we do have modernization and construction contracts as the focal point in this grouping of advertised contracts. But again, look at those contact information and projected advertisement dates. Okay, next slide, please. We also have professional service agreements, which might be more relevant to the number of folks who are on this call today. And so we're looking for consultants who are able to deliver on independent medical examinations, who are able to provide on-call professional consulting, or affordable housing revolving loan program assistance. So for example, administration on-call professional consulting is really broad, right? I myself, if I were a small business and I felt that I could deliver on that, but wanted to make sure before I submitted a bid and keep that on my radar when it gets actually advertised, I would email Brianna Darlington, ask about a more specific scope of work if it's available, or describe the scopes of work that I deliver and ask if it's relevant based on the information she has. So this is all very useful information. Next slide, please. Okay, now I'm going to talk about our Business Advisory Council. Next slide, please. So here at BART's Office of Civil Rights, our main goal is to serve the small business community and the minority-owned business community. We want to make sure, right, that small businesses are included in our procurement process. And the only way that we can know if our policies are effectively doing so is by looking at small business participation data and also talking directly to the community that we aim to serve, ensuring that we address pain points in small business owners' experiences as they navigate our procurement process, and to include them as we develop strategies to expand our outreach and to ensure that as many contracts as possible are reaching small businesses. So in that vein, the BAC was established in 2010 to encourage communication between the district and small businesses, and to ensure that small businesses are afforded equal opportunities in our procurement process. Small businesses include DBEs, DVBEs, MBEs, WBEs, and MSBEs. Members who are on the Business Advisory Council serve a two-year term, and the meetings are held once every other month and in the afternoons, and they're 2 hours long, and they take place at BART headquarters or over Zoom. Next slide, please. We accept applications year-round, and a completed application packet includes a filled-out application form, a letter of recommendation from your organization, and a cover letter describing your interest. So if this sounds like a great opportunity that aligns with your background, and if you want to essentially be a representative of the small business community in the delivery of our programs and policies, please email Office of Civil Rights at bart.gov. Next slide, please. Some examples of impact from BAC members. Folks on this call may have attended our Small Business Summit, which was our largest in-person outreach event since the onset of the pandemic in 2020. And the Business Advisory Council were critical in helping develop the outreach strategy for that event and to develop the programming for that event. They actually suggested and highlighted that small businesses also should have access to informal contracts. So those contracts that are under $100,000 that are not formally advertised on our website. And for the first time ever at an outreach event, we had projected informal contracts at the event, and attendees were able to network with representatives from the different departments who would be originating those informal contracts throughout the remainder of this year. Members also helped develop small business outreach strategies. So they identified a need for a post-outreach meeting survey to measure the effectiveness for attendees. And so we're in the process of developing that as well. And finally, we've worked with the procurement division to identify pain points in the invoicing process. Something that small businesses have brought up to us before is that they might not be getting paid as quickly as possible. And so part of the process is an identified need for a standard invoice template to be developed to streamline the process. And that identifying that need is a really important and critical development in the way that small businesses navigate our procurement process. So of course, it's just really cool to be able to identify pain points, to bring issues that are broadly experienced across the small business community, and then to be connected with the stakeholders at our organization that can help address those issues and to collaborate in developing a solution. Next slide, please. Also, we also love it when Business Advisory Council members are part of other representative organizations in the small business community, whether that be local chamber of commerces, local unions, or other trade organizations that seek to represent the issues of the concerns and experiences of the small business community at large. So we really aren't asking you to represent maybe your interests solely, but those of the small business community. And we really do look for a track record of representation through involvement in organizations such as these. Next slide, please. And that's it. So thank you for listening to me, and I'm ready to take questions.
Fantastic. And we do have a good amount of questions. You guys are fantastic at getting these questions into the Q&A. So we'll go ahead and start with the first one that I saw in chat. Marvin was wondering, are the contracting goals mandatory? And if so, are there any penalties if the goals are not met?
For sure. The contract goals themselves, when we advertise the bid, are not mandatory, but the bidders who submit the prime contractors who submit a bid that either meets or exceeds the goal have a very strong advantage of being awarded the contract. And additionally, there are penalties on the federal side if those contracts goals aren't met after a commitment is made. So if you're awarded the contract and you make a commitment to meet that contract goal, and then throughout the contract's life cycle, you don't meet them, there are different penalties. And it's kind of like an escalating range of penalties that our contract compliance teams implement. That is essentially the compliance team's main role, is to ensure that the work that prime contractors committed to awarding small businesses at the time of a contract's award is actually held through and met throughout the contract's life cycle.
Yeah. So it's kind of twofold. On the agency level, there isn't any penalties if the agency doesn't meet that goal, but on the contractor's level, there may be.
If the agency doesn't meet so we have a triennial goal where we do a projection of contracts that are expected to be awarded in a 3-year period, and then we project our DBE attainment on federally funded contracts throughout those 3 years. And if we don't meet the goal, we do actually have to provide some explanation or reasoning to the Federal Transit Administration. And of course, it should be a sufficient response. Otherwise, there would be penalties.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. And then Warren was asking if a business needs to be certified as both an SBE and an MSBE to do business with BART.
Absolutely not. The MSBE certification is only if you meet that eligibility criteria and the time. And if you meet that eligibility criteria, the main benefit is that you are able to bid for MSBE set-aside contracts, which means you get to bid for certain contracts that are in a protected environment where you only bid against other MSBEs. However, if you don't meet that criteria, if you're not eligible as an MSBE and only as an SBE, it just means you can't bid on the set-aside contracts, but you can bid for all other contracts and be included as an SBE subcontractor on all other proposals and bids, which leaves, like, to be clear, the MSBE set-asides is a very small portion of the contracts that we award. So you still have a lot of opportunity to work with BART if you are just an SBE.
Yeah. And that's the big thing I've picked up about certifications is like the certifications are never mandatory to do business with an agency, but the certifications will give you an absolute advantage, a leg up when they're reviewing the applications. So if you do qualify, absolutely get both. But if you don't, it shouldn't hinder you in any way.
Exactly.
And then we had an anonymous attendee wondering if their business is not located in the local counties that have those smaller certifications like the LBE. Can the small business not compete for those bids, or is there a way to get certified outside of those counties with those local certifications?
So essentially, if there is a Measure RR funded contract that you are interested in, and you don't fulfill the eligibility for the LSB certification, you of course can still work with a prime contractor to be included on a bid for that contract. Your participation will not help the prime contractor be eligible for a preference, for that 5% preference. So it's just for those 3 counties because those are the 3 counties that passed that bond measure. They voted on it and passed it, and part of the conditions on allowing us to spend that $3.5 billion on those different scopes of work is to ensure that some of that money goes directly back to those three specific counties.
Oh,
So you're still eligible to compete for other contracts as well. You wouldn't be excluded. It's just about whether you would receive the preference that is tied to LSB participation.
yeah, that makes sense. All right. And Warren was wondering how BART helps small businesses connect with your big prime contractors.
Yeah, absolutely. So we hosted our small business summit, which was really cool. It was essentially a meet the primes format in which we had a lot of prime contractors that um, submit bids for contracts at BART frequently, but we also had virtual programming throughout the week, including Norcal APEX, where we helped basically develop the skill sets to ensure that you are successful in networking with primes and also successful throughout a contract's life cycle and carrying out the responsibilities of the work awarded to you. So we try to really provide support at all steps of the process in terms of what it takes to win a contract with BART. So Meet the Primes events for some construction contracts, we will have we will set up a networking event as well when a bid is advertised, in which relevant subcontractors who are pulled from the DGS database and from other databases will be invited to network with primes who might be interested in submitting a bid. And that's really good because it's targeted to a specific contract, right? You would have been invited because you have the relevant work experience to be a successful subcontractor, and the primes are looking for those. So it feels more mutual when that happens as well. It's called a matchmaking event. Yeah.
They're always a lot of fun.
Mm.
And I do see we got a ton more questions as we're answering. I mean, we do have plenty of time, so we will try to get to everybody's. But right now, I'm going to try and pull ones that are kind of on topic. Warren was wondering if BART has a list of prime contractors so that the small businesses can reach out directly to them. Do you guys maintain a list like that?
We do not maintain a list of prime contractors like that you can just navigate to. What I would say is we do have a page on BART.gov where we advertise all of our, not advertise, but where we post all of our work plans. Those work plans are tied to different professional service agreements and construction contracts, and they show the dollar amount of the contract that was awarded, and it also shows the name of the prime contractor and also the name of all the subcontractors who were included in the awarded bid. So I think that's a really cool opportunity because first you're going to get that list of, through clicking through those, you'll get the list of prime contractors that you would want to network with, but you'll also be able to see the other subcontractors who have been successful in trying to get to the position that you want to be in. And it doesn't hurt to send an email to those subcontractors and ask how they got connected. That's my advice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say that advice applies to nearly all government contracts because I believe after the contract is awarded, it becomes public information. So you can go in and check out the previously awarded contracts that you're interested in and really gain a lot of good information from those. So local, state, or federal contracting, that is a fantastic tip. And then we're going to bounce back to certifications as I see quite a few other questions. So I know I saw it. Heidi was wondering if certification is a one-time application or if you have to reapply every year or on some other schedule.
Different certifications have different renewal periods. And over at OCR here at the Office of Civil Rights, we have a team of certification application reviewers who will also reach out to those who are up for renewal. So to answer that, different certification timelines, but we're on top of it. And as long as there's open communication, it should not be difficult to review and renew.
Absolutely. And that's something that our Norcal APEX Accelerator counselors can actually help you keep track of because we have a database, you have a full account, and I know at least a good number of our counselors email their clients when their certifications are coming up for renewal. Okay. And then Warren had a follow-up question about the SBE and MSBE. And he's wondering, once they're certified as an MSBE, how do they access those bid opportunities, or how can they identify those ones that are set aside for them?
Yeah, so the slide that I showed with the link on upcoming procurements, if you go to that webpage and you scroll all the way to the bottom, there will be a table that says micro small business entity set aside contracts, and that table will have the projected MSBE set aside contracts that are in the pipeline due to be advertised soon. Right now, I don't think any are listed, but you just have to check back there regularly. I believe they're updated on a quarterly basis.
Fantastic. And then just to punctuate the certifications, Brooker was wondering, just generally, why would someone want to get certified? What does it do for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said at the beginning of the presentation, the biggest mechanism through which we increase small business participation is through contract goals. If we award, for example, a $1 million contract and we say 10% of that contract has to go to DBEs, that means $100,000 of that contract is up for grabs for DBEs. A prime contractor who wants to win the $1 million contract is going to try and who wants to win the contract will try to meet that 10% goal in order to win the competitive bid process. So when he is submitting a bid, he is looking for businesses with a DBE certification that he can reach out to and say, can I include you on my bid where I will give you X amount of dollars from that $100,000 that has to go to DBEs. And in doing so, the DBE will get work and the prime contractor will be more likely to win the bid that they submit. However, your participation as a DBE will only count towards that 10% goal of that $1 million contract if you already have the certification at the time of bid. So it really is in your best interest to have that certification already so that when the opportunity comes throughout your networking or when a prime reaches out to you, you're ready and available to be included on that bid and to count towards that goal. Does that break it down, Amanda? Is there...
Yeah, I think that was a fantastic answer. And essentially, you want to be certified where it makes sense for you, right? And so if you qualify for a certification that is going to help you get a leg up for these set-asides or even just give you the opportunity to compete for these set-asides, it only makes your chances better. All right. And so I have quite a few questions about informal contracts. So we'll go ahead and dive into that. A couple of folks were wondering how they can learn and kind of stay in the loop about these informal contracts and if they're considered some sort of micro purchasing opportunity.
For sure. So right now we're working on a way to increase access to opportunities for informal contracts. I would say that it's a little difficult since they originate within departments at BART. And so it's hard to get a projection of those upcoming informal contracts, and they're not formally advertised on our BART.gov website. However, what I would say is that whenever we host an in-person outreach event at our headquarters, it's in your best interest to attend because you'll have access to folks and different teams who work at BART, and you yourself can offer your services based on what their needs are, since these informal contracts really either fall under professional service agreement type scopes of work, like consulting services, or just normal run-of-the-mill services needed for the operations of an office. Like you need not cleaning services per se, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. But all that to say, there is no straightforward way to learning about those opportunities, but that is in development.
Fantastic. And it's so good that you guys are working towards getting those out there more frequently and to more people. All right. And so I am seeing a lot of questions that are very much like, how do I do this? Or how do I sign up for this certification? Or what about this specific thing? And I love those questions, but I do want to have you guys go directly to Alexi about these things, because they're very specific. So,
Yeah. And I would
and
say that emailing me at the email I listed at the beginning would be great because I think some of these questions might be so specific that it wouldn't be of value maybe to the whole audience, and also allows me to dive into the minutia of our application process and eligibility criteria and to ensure I give you the most accurate response possible.
absolutely. And
Mhm.
so I'll go ahead and mark those. And we do have a couple more questions. We are about 10 minutes from the time, so we are still doing very good. Um,
I'm just gonna put
so
my email in the chat.
perfect. Thank you so much, Alexi. And one I did want to answer is Mary from Industrial Metals. They're not considered a small business, but they're wondering if there's any certifications they can get to help them get a BART contract. They're interested in the extension project as a metal supplier.
Or I would say if you are not a small business and you don't fit within the DBE certification, um, you might look at the different certifications that I listed out on the non-federal side, which included LGBTBE, so our LGBT business enterprise, or our disabled veterans business enterprise, etc. And if those don't fit, then there might not be that many other options. However, we have a certifications page on our website that has an exhaustive list of what opportunities are available. It's just hard to know what might be applicable to you because I don't know the full context of your business or your background.
Yeah,
But I would say navigate to the certifications page on our website.
absolutely. And if you do need any more help kind of figuring out which certifications are really going to be good for your business, that's absolutely something Norcal APEX Accelerator or your local APEX Accelerator can help you with. That's something that our counselors very often start their clients on is what certifications are you eligible for and what certifications make sense for your industry? All right, and I wanted to ask this one because I'm actually not sure about this. Mark was wondering if there are opportunities with BART that are outside the Bay Area. Is that possible?
Um, I Yeah, I think that it is possible, but that might be more on like the procurement side. You
Mm,
know, like if we're trying to procure, for example, we tried to procure new rail cars, right, for our fleet of the future. And those rail cars weren't produced in the Bay Area. They were produced, I believe, on the East Coast and then transported to the Bay Area. So that's an example of a contract that was awarded to someone outside of the Bay Area. I think that would be the easiest example of what comes to mind.
yeah.
And if you're submitting a bid and you're willing to perform the work in the Bay Area, for example, like station modernization will of course have to happen within our district. But if you are a company that is willing to deliver those services and you can competitively price and meet the contract goals, then you are of course still eligible.
Fantastic. And then we had a question about the three main procurement categories. Warren's business works in, can provide graphics for spaces, logos, wall graphics, wayfinding, event signage. Off the top of your head, do you know which of the procurement categories he would want to target for those kind of items?
Yeah, I would say that's professional services agreements. Yeah.
Fantastic. And it looks like, yeah, you guys had a ton of fantastic questions that I will have you direct directly to Alexi because they are more specific. And it's a good question to really get that point of contact, to get that contact within BART so that you can really open up that door for yourself. So if you have questions about how to get your certification through BART, what kind of process you need to do, where the portal is, please do email Alexi at that chat, at that email in chat. And of course, oh, I do see one more question. We'll get to that. So if you have a question about certification, please email Alexi directly and he'll be able to help you work through that. Or if you need any further help, please feel free to sign up for Norcal APEX Accelerator services. Remember, our services are absolutely no cost. At no point in time will we ever ask you for any sort of payment information. And we can absolutely help you with even the SBE and the LBE certifications, all the way up to the California state certifications. So we can absolutely help you if you have really more in-depth and more time-consuming certification questions. And so we'll go ahead and close out with this last question from Jaya. Do the prime and the subs need to be within the state to do BART contracts?
Within the state?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I suppose not. If you're able to deliver your services virtually, then you wouldn't necessarily have to be in the same state.
I could think that would apply in like some consulting situations.
Exactly. If you've been awarded a contract to do graphic design work for BART, designing one of our logos or designing the Barty mascot, I think you could do it anywhere.
Yeah. And the second part of your question is, do the out-of-state primes and subs have to hold CA state certifications?
I know that, yeah, they would. I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah, fantastic.
it's cool.
All right. And so with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this presentation. Before you all leave, I do want to preview the appendix a little bit. And please do remember, you will get the recording as well as all of these slides within a week of today's event. And if you are interested in some other events or some other trainings that you can attend, I'd love to bring your attention to these two events that Norcal APEX Accelerator will be joining. First off, next Wednesday on July 24th, I will be a part of the Caltrans North Region Resource Roundtable. And this is an absolutely fantastic event that brings together all of the small business resources, just like Norcal APEX Accelerator. So if you're interested in really getting connected and really getting that support for your business, I cannot recommend this event enough. And then if you're interested in doing business with possibly the federal government, we have a fantastic doing business with the GSA event on August 13th. And with that, thank you all so much for joining us. When you do exit this webinar, you will be redirected to our feedback survey. If you do have a quick minute or two, we always appreciate any and all feedback on our events. We really truly do these events for you. So if you think that we could be doing them better or doing them differently, or even if you think we're doing a great job, please do let us know because that's the only way we can improve. And thank you all so much for being here. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.